Hello, my absolutely beautiful Libra friends, and welcome to your horoscope for July of 2023, where Libra this month, the ruling planet, steps into a retrograde, flashing us back into life into 2015 and in 8-year increments beyond that. So you can really track this forward and back and see where this Venus retrograde is leading you, especially around your friends, social groupings, technology, your advancements, organizations that you are connected to. It's all under revision. And don't worry, we've already been in the cycle, so you already have some hints as to where your attention is being called. Now, this month, we are also going to see Chiron going retrograde in the energy of Aries. So a real re-reflection of who you are, how you stand, and the relationships in your life, and where you're no longer seeing them through wounded eyes, but through eyes that have a little bit of a different purpose and understanding to them. So really a great month that I think is on deck for us. So let's jump in, Libra, and see what is going on. Right at the beginning of the month, on the 3rd, we've got a full moon happening at 11 degrees of Capricorn. Now, this particular full moon is going to ask us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment, right? It creates an illumination or an acknowledgement. Sometimes it feels like a revelation or an epiphany that comes to us at an emotional level. And this is about your domestic life, home, family, real estate, property. And where are you looking at, hey, I've had responsibilities, or I've believed I've had responsibilities in this area of my life, obligations, commitments here. And what you're being asked to do is to rebalance this in some way. Where does there need to be more family? Or if you happen to be on the other side, less family, and you're pulling back a little bit and letting people take responsibility for themselves. But this could also be because this particular full moon is opposing Mercury that's in Cancer at the time. There's a conversation here with Saturn. There's a trine with Jupiter. This could also be where you're actually just having responsibilities either relieved from you or brought to you. But whatever it is, it's very practical. Okay, it's very, very, very practical, where it's like, you do have the skills and you do have the mastery to create stability with the decisions that you're going to be making. So whichever direction the revelation and the illumination goes for you, just know that essentially what you are looking for is to create a sense of stability, to see where there's been an over dependence in some way, and to rebalance that scale a little bit. On the 10th, we see Mars entering into the energy of Virgo, lighting up your 12th house space. Now, Mars brings a change of energy, okay? It changes the direction of where it goes. So as it enters into this 12th house space, this is a review time for you. You know, birthday time is going to be just around the corner before you know it. So here in the 12th house, you're taking action on what needs to be completed, what needs to be transitioned, what needs to be culminated in this energy, but you're doing it like a Virgo with the details. Maybe it's a step by step by step process to get something done. Mars helps you get it done. Virgo helps you get it done right in the best, most orderly form, and will help you have discernment as to what is a priority that needs to be done and what you can set to the side. So in the 12th house, remember, this is about let it go, let it transition to what it needs to be next, okay? Now, I do want to keep in mind for you that when Mars comes into the Virgo terrain, because it can bring tension or conflict here as well, sometimes it stirs up our neurological systems, okay? So I just want you, Libra, especially with all that big, beautiful air, I want you to make sure that you're giving your neurological system a break this month, okay? Make sure you get into a dark place. Just let yourself sit there. Just go into not the closet. You don't have to go in the closet if you don't want to. Go sit in your restroom, you know, and sit there with the lights off, maybe turn a little bit of water on, and just let things calm down, because Mars is also inflammatory, okay? On the 11th, we've got Mercury entering into the energy of Leo, lighting up the friendship space for you. So things are getting social. You're talking, you're having conversations, you're confident. There's a fun, there's a laughter and a self-expression that could be coming to you around groups, social media, places you want to stand out, taking a lead in an organization in some way, shape, or form. But whatever it is, when Mercury comes into fire. You want to be clear, concise, and direct with what you are saying. Try to be clear, concise, direct, and even funny, if you can be, with what you are thinking, right? It's a wonderful energy. So make some nice decisions, have some nice conversations under this energy. And if you can collaborate, what a great energy to laugh and go back and forth and have these fun or these deep or these detailed conversations, okay? On the 17th, we've got a new moon happening at 24 degrees of Cancer, just where we had this opposing energy of this full moon at the beginning of the month. Now, this particular moon does sit in opposition to Pluto, who's come back into the energy of Cancer, but it's got a nice resonance with Neptune here, which I think can be great for realizing where you've got to stop talking about it and like be about it now. It brings a sense of reality to the table that it's like, this is not in alignment with some ideals that I have, so I need to make some decisions. Now, this new moon is in your career house, okay? So career, what you do for work, not the day-to-day mundane things, but like, what's your title at work? What's your role? What are your responsibilities, okay? But also, let's say that you're unemployed. Let's say that you are retired. Let's say you never had to work a day in your life. It is about your title that we call you in public. It is about your status. Were you single? Now you're married. Were you married? Now you're single. What is it that we call you as by name in public? Because here at the new moon, you're planting your seeds of intention to say that, okay, in a very public way in how I show up, I am afraid I'm carrying too much. I'm afraid I'm doing too much. There's this element of fear that comes in with Pluto here. You feel the tension. You feel the internal implosion that could be here. So you're asking at this new moon, universe, help me be willing to accept help, to accept support, to let me delegate things where I need to. Let me make a fresh start with where my commitments and my focus and my attention are at. If I've been at work too much and I've had some workaholism going on, let me see. Give me the courage to step into my family life, because the truth is, when we're too much at work, going into the family life is usually where we find that we have a place to grow, or vice versa, right? Now, the other side of this that I really think of is that Pluto can also be your rise, right? Your empowerment. You're standing embodied. You're working with VIP energy clients and things like that, but you're nervous that you can't like keep on to it. How do I take this on and be good at home? How do I take this on and really accept responsibility for the work that needs to be done while also keeping an emotional balance? Things like this, right? But plant your seeds of intention to have a support system come in to help you navigate in this way. If it's that you've got to delegate, you got to delegate at home, you got to delegate at work so that you're not going to have an implosion, and instead you really get to step into that rise. Whatever it is, allow this new moon to be a commitment or a recommitment or a calling in for the support you need to be emotionally successful while also moving in your professional or in your titled world. On the 22nd, we've got Venus turning retrograde in Leo, as well as the sun entering into Leo. So Leo has got a hot ticket day going on for it on the 22nd. Now, if you haven't checked out the video that I did with Nicholas Polomanakis from Sparkles of Gold Astrology on the Venus in Leo retrograde season, please make sure that you check that out. I'll make sure it's at the end of this video as well. You can just find it in the playlist for June, okay? But we go in depth into what this cycle has got to offer you. But I want you to know in a general way that the retrograde portion of this cycle has been in place since June 19th, and we'll see the full retrograde cycle end on October 7th. Now, the degrees you're watching for in your chart are 28 to 12 degrees of Leo. And again, this is all in this 11th house space. Mercury has recently come in here. Venus has been traveling here. So flash back into your life, 2015. What was going on with your friends, friendship groups, organizations you were connected to, technology, math, science? Some of the place in here might have been really prominent for you. And what happened is that it's like you couldn't do something, or you had to give something up. Your creativity was smushed out a little bit, and you made a decision to take on a relationship, to take on a financial situation. You valued yourself. You valued something differently. You know, the relationships, the money, the situations that came into your life at that time had a purpose for then, but not now. And this particular retrograde cycle is really about bringing a healing. It's like you go back in your life and do an audit and you're like, yeah, all right, okay, that was okay. I don't value that anymore, so I don't need to carry that story forward anymore. Or, you know, I can just come current with my life. So make sure you check out that video with Nicolaus and I so that you can really see the touchstones throughout this retrograde cycle that you're going to want to know to check in on, okay? Then, of course, that sun traveling through Leo until the 23rd of August is very extroverted. So wonderful time for you to be social, have friends over, collaborate, get on board with organizations, you know, bring your tech out. If you haven't checked your email in a long time, great season for you to get in there and clear out your 20,000 messages or whatever, okay? As we get to the 23rd, we see Chiron going retrograde in the energy of Aries, and we will follow this retrograde from 19 degrees of Aries to 15 degrees of Aries. This lights up your 7th house zone. So really, Libra, the thing I want to bring your attention to is that because we call Chiron our wounded healer, it's because we know the wound. Right? You've had a wound to your relationships, your identity in relationships. And it's one that's quite personal. We know it very well because we've suffered it. But in the last 3 years, Chiron has really changed. There has been a healing to your identity or your understanding of your identity and your relationships and your engagement in relationships. So instead of having relationships from a consistently wounded place, right, which is a place where we are blaming other people, it is a place where it's like, I just can't seem to get this relationship life together, which is not just romantic relationships. We're talking business. We're talking friendship. We're talking you with whatever you call God or the universe, right? This has healed the wound, and the identity have healed a little bit. Now, the relationships in your life may have a different purpose. You have a different understanding of them now. You have a different level of faith. But I also think that this particular period is a great time for you to rethink or reevaluate who you are and standing in your power and your identity and your relationships, and letting those relationships be really profound, and seeing the bigger picture of how important the relationships in your life are to the story of your journey. And so making sure that you are continuing to own your part and heal along with that. On the 28th, as we're going to close out this month, we see Mercury coming into the energy of Virgo, bringing your thought life and your action life, Mars in Leo. Venus is still, of course, traveling through Virgo, Venus is traveling through Leo, but we've got Mars and Mercury traveling through Virgo. So we've got thought and action together in your 12th house space to bring culmination. Now, we are going to see a longer tour of Mercury through Virgo because Mercury is going to take a retrograde here, and that will begin next month. So we're going to have a fair amount of Mercury in Virgo energy. So a longer period for you to bring something to culmination. Now, I always take it on just principle that when we're getting a retrograde anywhere in our chart, but certainly in the 12th house, it's going to take us a little bit longer to get our thought life, get our understanding, get the facts together, get the knowledge together about what it is that needs to culminate, end, transition, be worked on. The spiritual attention and guidance we need, maybe something creative coming up through that 12th house. It's going to take us a little bit longer to gather all of the information we need in order to really allow it to make that transition and for us to be in a proper position to make a different decision, Mercury in Virgo, and take a different action, Mars in Virgo. So just know whatever is transitioning for you, the devil is in the details. And what you need to get done to make the transition happen, the step-by-step things, the precision, the impeccable words, the impeccable movement, Mars in Virgo and Mercury in Virgo are really working in your favor at this time. All right, my absolutely beautiful Libra friends, I love you a ton. Have an absolutely gorgeous month. Make sure as we get ready to, you're pre-gaming, you're pre-gaming and starting to wind down and get ready for your next year, as we're going to bring in Leo season, and then you'll officially do some rejuvenating through Virgo season before it's time for your birthday. So have a great month. Let me know how it's going in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in August.